Right, I've had a question, and it's what do all the things do? So I'll go through them for you if you want, if you're that interested. You've got a fuel tap here. See, right, left, off. That is for your wings, for your fuel in the wing tanks, which are up there. You've got carb heat here, which is to help stop carb ice, which you get. It takes too long to explain. This is a magneto system, so you have basically 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So you have a backup, and it runs on a magneto system, and so you have 2 mags. That's the starter button. Press that. That thing spins. A key goes in the keyhole. Light to tell you that you've left it on. I've recently fitted that because I used to always shut it down, and then there was no light or anything to tell you you've left it on, and I used to make the batteries go flat, which was it annoyed me, so I've put that in. This is your airspeed. That is vital, and as long as you're going, everyone thinks you fall out the sky when the propeller stops. You don't fall out the sky, as long as you've got airspeed. So we try and work within this green arc here, and this is in miles an hour. A lot of the aircraft are in knots, but we're in miles an hour. It's American, this thing. Weird, I don't know. So basically it's your stall speed is around here, around 35-ish, which means that the wings cannot produce lift anymore, and therefore one wing, or sometimes both wings, will stop flying. So in a light aircraft like this, you'll feel it. It's called the incipient stall. It's when the wings just can't quite grip, and then you start to lose lift in the wings, and what will happen is it will drop. So in the Hollywood films, and well, on big jets actually, they have the stick shaker where the stick goes like that, and they have a device to make that happen, which mimics you going into a stall. So basically, wings not flying stall, not an engine gone off stall like your car. This is wings stop flying stall. So that's a stall. To get out of a stall, if you add power, or first thing you do is put the stick forward, get down, and then you build up airspeed, add power, and climb away. And the other end of the scale is over here. This is we don't really want to go into the red. Red is kind of wings fall off territory. It's not designed for aerobatics, this thing, but you don't want to go too fast. It'll probably go a little bit more than that, but we say 110 is the maximum you should go. We normally cruise in this area here, 70 or 80, depending on how much fuel you put in and the cost of fuel. Sometimes down here. No, I'm joking. About here. Altimeters, you've got 2. One you can set for there's QNH and QFE. QNH is the area. QFE is the field. FE, as you remember, how you spell field is you remember that. You can put it in there so you know the height above the airfield, and then you can put the other one for the height, the altitude you are around the area. You've got your revs here. So we normally cruise about there. This is a 4-stroke. It's a 2200 Jabiru engine, 4-cylinder engine. The other thing I had before this was a Rotax 582, and it was just running its tits off. It was like crazy speed. It was a 2-stroke engine. We'll talk about that another day. Vertical speed, so this is if you are climbing or if you are descending, and by how much. Okay, that's what that one is. Tells you what you're doing. So you should be able to trim it, and then you should be able to fly straight and level, and it should just fly itself, sort of. You've got a manual carb heat here, which takes heat from the engine to help with the carb ice. Choke, for you old school people that don't know what a choke is, that's a choke. You've got this as a transponder, so if you fly anywhere and you want to fly into airspace that's restricted, you can radio ahead, and you can speak to them, and they'll tell you to squawk a number. You dial it in, turn it on, dial it in, and they'll be able to see you. You'll be come up as a beep beep on the screen, and they can know what you're doing and where you are and how high you are and everything about you. I don't use it at the moment. Radio, it's a handheld. Funnily enough, to do the microlight, you don't have to have a radio. Mad, isn't it? As long as you follow the rules, you don't have to have a radio. But if you have a radio, you're supposed to have a license. You've got a series of switches here which run things like strobes, your gyro, which is this one here. Oh, that's a slip. This runs on a gyro, so when you start it up, you'll hear it'll wind up, and it tells you your bank angle, and it also gives you your slip gauge. The idea is to keep that ball in the middle, and then you know you're flying nicely into the wind. Okay. Unless you want to do a side slip. Then you've got gauges over here. You've got oil temperature, you've got oil pressure, battery, which is good now because I want your battery in it, and you've got exhaust gas temperatures. One of those doesn't work very well, and here you've got cylinder head temperature. You'll see. A row of fuses. You've got dual controls. Oh, can I get that in shot? There we are. Dual controls there. So you've got your ailerons there, and you've got your rudder under there. 4 pedals. There's only brakes on the pilot side. Your toe brakes. So you push the toes in, and it'll do your brakes. Disc brakes. The other one had drum brakes. They're both just as useless as each other. Here is not a handbrake. This is your flaps. So if you pull that up, you get 3 stages of flaps out there. Can you see that moving up? There you go. That's your flaps. Where did we get to? Oh, your throttle. So you've got 2. One there, one there. That's your throttle. Go. Stop. Headset, Dave Clark, nice. And yeah, that's about it really. It's got a wooden prop out there, nice new wooden prop, fixed pitch prop. There's no very pitch on this, it's just a fixed pitch made of a tree. Some nice chunky tires, disc brakes. It's a steel frame. This is all steel frame, steel engine, cradle, fiberglass cowling, but the rest aluminium wings, aluminium fuselage, and it's covered with Dacron and mildew, but it's covered like the old-fashioned aircraft. And with this one you can see all your wires and things like that, so when you actually operate a lever you can actually see it doing what it's supposed to do, which is the same on every aircraft. It's just they have trim and things that covers them up to make them look nice and pretty. Fuel tanks, they hold about 30 litres a side, but obviously it depends on who you're taking up to how much fuel you put in there. You've got to try and make the weight, you know, balance out a bit. You've got a trim here. This is your trim wheel, so it just adds an extra bit of trim so you can let go of the controls and it will fly. That's about it. Oh, there's a brake down here. You can put the brake on, pull that, and your brakes will lock the discs, and all that's for your radio. Yeah, so there we are. Any more questions, let me know.